Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei is son of Sparda and Eva? Part 8. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. The group were gathered in the hideout on the morning of the raiding game after their training camp, as the remaining members of Sparda's peerage and Eva's saints had left to handle important matters. So far none of them had accessed their trigger form as of yet, but Cerberus explained that it's normally accesses when the devil is in a near-death moment, when their life is in danger of being extinguished after a long and hard fight. Beowulf confirmed it as the light beast of Inferno was one who took his devil trigger to its fullest strength available. Anyway, Issei was looking over to files Rodin gave them as said fallen angel looked at the info. Got this bad boy straight from Phineas himself. Rodin said as Issei looked through the file. Okay, I always know to trust Phineas' prophecies, but this one I have to admit is pretty out there. Issei said as Rias looked through her own copy. This may actually make it so Riser was in fact cheating in all the raiding games he won. Rias said as she looked at the file. Yeah, using performance enhancers, gotta say spicy chicken wings is going to be in some deep shit when he gets caught. Issei said as the way he said it showed Issei wasn't talking about steroids. Yeah, but the main focus of this is the possible devil's arm we'll profit off of. Rodin said as Rias looked. I always thought the devil arms were long since vanished from the Trinity, since no devil other than the Maus had ever reached that level of power. Rias said Issei smirked as Murayama laughed. Rias, what do you think Alistair and Ifrit are? Murayama laughed as Issei looked. Are my fists Eric's? Issei asked as he showed the demonic fists. Wait, you're saying? Rias asked as Issei smiled. Yeah, I had to kill a giant slug succubus called Poison to get these fuckers. Issei said punching Eric's together. Yeah, but let's not forget Rias here still needs some devil arms and angel arms to be a true Nephilim. Rodin said as Rias nodded. Okay, so let's head to the old school building there we can talk about our next move. Kata said as everyone could agree on that. Don't worry, Issei, I rigged this bad boy to broadcast to your mom so she can watch her adopted son kick ass and take names. Rodin said with a smirk. On the house just this once. Rodin said as Issei knew Rodin would charge him for a cable bill. So I guess Norman and Enzo is getting cable for this also, right? Issei asked as Rodin nodded. Yeah, they are, it's on you for Enzo, Rias. Rodin said as Rias chuckled. Put it on his tab. Rias said as when she had met Enzo, she found the chubby little Italian had an infinite tab, to which Rias as part of her devil origins, had taken advantage of. You got it. Rodin said as Rias smirked. Oh, you are bad. Akeno said as they all had gotten up and stood on the portals before they left. At the Orc building, Issei was checking his gear seeing his girls Ebony and Ivory were all loaded as he checked and found her had a cross and holy water ready. Asia was also in a combat outfit of sorts, as Kiba sheathed his sword with Murayama, while Cadis and Kaneko got their hand-to-hand gear ready. So Issei, I've been meaning to ask how come you didn't call in your other swordmaster, we could use his or her help. Rias said as Issei sighed. Like I said before, she's deep undercover on the trail of a lost item stolen from me and my family in Paradiso. Right now she's literally at its tail chasing, so calling her back now would push back months if not years of progress. Issei said as Rias looked to the cold look Issei had. Whatever that item was, Issei was intent on getting it back even if he has to burn down the Vatican to get it. Okay. Rias said before Issei smirked and looked to her. What about your bishop? Issei asked as Rias glared. None of your business if you won't call in your other swordmaster. Rias said as Issei simply shrugged. Alright babe, whatever you say. Issei said as Rias nodded to this. Anyway, Phineas better keep his promised grand entrance for me, otherwise I'll make the entrance myself at my victory party. Issei said as Rias sighed. As all your ideas involve breasts, guns, swords, motorbikes, and style? Rias asked as Issei smirked. Yes, I'm glad you noticed. Issei said as he was all ready to make a devil cry today. So what's the plan when we start? Aika asked as she had her large chainsaw claymore ready as she stretched a bit. We fight too till the party gets crazy. Issei said as Rias glared. No, we need a plan right now, we barely have the numbers for a full set even with both our sets as one team. So we need to be smart about this. The Sparda household and Phoenix household naturally hate each other's guts, so we can have Issei clear us a path. Plus being as Issei is a Nephilim and a Longinus user giving him major god-slaying powers, he's our best chance at taking on Riser. Rias said as Issei glared. Yeah, way to ruin my fun. Issei said as he sat back down. Don't complain Issei, you and me will take on Riser head on when a path is cleared. Rias said as Issei smirked. And now you returned the fun. Issei said as he was itching to take on Riser and put a bullet between his eyes. I think we should wait and see our battlefield before we make a plan. Kiba said as he was putting on any armor he may need as well as making sure his sword was ready. The Riser taunted two houses thinking we weren't a threat, jokes on him when we make him cry. Issei said as he smirked ready to take on Riser. We'll show this fuck what happens when he messes with the House of Sparda and the House of Gremory. Issei said as he spun around ebony and ivory in his hands. Okay then Asia, Aika, and Kiba, you two will make up our Sacred Gear Battalion. Kiba, you'll be in charge. Aika with her combination powers will be a great help. Rias said as Kiba nodded. Understood, but you. Kiba said as Aika then put her arm around Kiba. Don't worry, I won't bite. Aika said as Issei looked. Okay then, the rest of you will be our heavy hitters while me, I'll just run around the game killing off our opponents as I come across them. Issei said with a smirk as her was so itching to take them down. Me and Rias, well, we'll be around handling with aid when needed. Issei said with a smirk as he was ready to fight. Now the Nephilim of the group, do you guys have holy water and crosses on you? Issei asked as Asia, Aika, and Rias showed theirs, as did the veteran members of the brood. But then we should be prepared for this then. Rias said as they waited for Graphia and their opponents to show up. Man, you don't look in any way afraid. Issei said as he plopped on the sofa and plopped his feet on the table. Of course, since you have showed no fear, it's only fair I reflect that as a servant of the house of Sparda and the heiress of the house of Gremory. Rias said as she and Akeno enjoyed some tea. Well then, looks like we're eschewing to win. Murayama said with a smile as this will be their perfect victory. Soon the door opened as Issei smirked as he saw Sona Citri walk in. Well, guess we got company. So Sona, what's up? Issei asked as Sona sighed. Sorry for the intrusion, but when I hear that my friend and her new master are about to enter their first raiding game, I had to make sure you two weren't freaking out. Sona said as Issei smirked. Well, I do have my old man's blood, and we all know he walks away from most serious injuries like a phoenix walks away from a little scratch. Issei said as Rias sighed. There's a live broadcast of the competition so family members can watch. Normally Paradiso wouldn't be involved, but since your mother's saints are labeled under your family as well as your adopted mother and your father's peerage, you have a lot of people watching you. Rias explained as Sona nodded. Yes, currently when Inferno got word that Sparda had 2 living heirs to his house and fortune twin sons, Inferno had been in an uproar. The pure blood faction doesn't pay you any mind for your bloodline, considering you are a mixed blood with that of an angel, but they do want to see your potential and power. The rest of Inferno, well, they are getting deeply invested in your build out, seeing as you are the youngest being ever to participate in a raiding game as a leader. Sona said as Rias looked. Anyway, Rias and Tsubaki are here to set up the live camera feed that Rodin had started with. Rias said as Issei nodded. Got it? Issei called as he relaxed. Well, Lord Sparda, you should also be aware that since this is your first raiding game as well as Ria's first raiding game, I will not miss this for anything in Chaos or Inferno. Sona said as Issei smirked. Well then, let's not disappoint then. Issei said as he got ready. Soon a portal appeared behind the 2 devils as it was that of Lucifer, as from it came Graphia as Issei smirked. Yo babe, it's time to start, yet I'm dying of boredom here. Issei said as Graphia sighed to Issei's demeanor. Lord Sparda, please try and act your rank, seeing as Surzich-sama has placed you as the head of House Sparda in Inferno, while Phineas hold your brother's half of the inheritance till he can be located. And being as you are the Sparda head and one of its last 2 surviving members, Surzich-sama has utilized the loophole to allow you access to the raiding game. Graphia said as the loophole was that the raiding games would allow Issei to promote his brood faster to help rebuild his house. Though Graphia held no illusion that Issei will rebuild House Sparda as a Nephilim family, the same with Rias, as seeing as she is the heiress with her parents having no other children, the likely result will be the Gremory family, eventually becoming a Nephilim family through Rias' descendants. Good luck with that, Graphia, I've been trying since I first met him. Rias said as Graphia mentally sighed as Issei was too laid back, but needs must be met for the Sparda household. Anyway, it's almost time, I hope you two are ready for this. And seeing as Riser must face 2 kings at once, Surzich-sama had brought in some special rules for this to see how it would play out, seeing as Lord Sparda has a king as a member of his peerage. Graphia said as Issei cleared his throat. Brood. Issei corrected as Graphia nodded. Sorry and thank you. Graphia said as she looked. Anyway, in a way it's a 3-way game of chess, but to win Riser must defeat both sets of kings, so Rias, even if your peerage were to be put into checkmate, you will be transferred over to Issei's brood as his queen. Graphia began, but Rias spoke. Dark Slayer. Rias said, correcting Graphia. Sorry and thank you again, as his Dark Slayer giving you basically 2 chances to defeat Riser. I understand this is a major handicap, but seeing as Riser had challenged the heiress to the House of Gremory and the heir and head of House Sparda, these handicaps had to be placed as one-time rules, as part of the loophole Surzich-sama was able to utilize. Now then, is everything understood? Graphia asked as Rias nodded. Yes, and we're all ready whenever you are. Rias said as Graphia nodded. Very well. In a few moments we will be using this portal to transport your team dubbed Devil May Cry to the battlefield. Graphia said as that surprised Issei. Wait, Devil May Cry? Issei asked as he didn't expect that. Yes, Surzich-sama felt it was best for this name, seeing as we can't call your team Sparda or Gremory without possible insults to either household, so this name was a compromise. Does it displease you, Lord Sparda? Graphia asked as Issei smirked. No, in fact I think it has a nice ring to it. Devil May Cry. Issei said as he could practically picture it on a neon sign. I shall be in the student broadcast room calling the game. I'll be cheering you both on, good luck. Sona said before she took her leave as Issei got up and smirked while stretching a bit. Thanks a lot, just try and keep the play-by-play fair. Rias said as Sona then looked to Rias with a cold look. Oh, I'll keep it clean, but if I was a betting girl I'd wager that you and Issei will beat down that scumbag 5,000 ways from New Year's Day to New Year's Eve. Sona said as Issei smirked. Well, we got 5 Nephilim and a Longinus with 3 devils and 2 sacred gears between the two parties. Yeah, I think Riser is pretty much Fuber. Issei said as he smirked as the two left. Also, I forgot to tell you. Graphia said, catching everyone's attention. The great devil Lucifer will be watching the game as well as all of Inferno. Reason being is Issei, as he is the heir apparent to the house of Sparda and thus everyone will be watching him very closely. Graphia said as Issei smirked. Well then, guess I'll be making the devils of Inferno cry. Issei said with a smirk as rebellion appeared on his back. Oh brother dearest. Rias said as Issei smirked. Hey, don't let redhead Lucifer bring you down. I'll be neutral with him since he took Mundus's place as Lucifer, but if he does something out of line, I'm showing him why we Nephilim were feared by gods and satans. Issei said as Graphia would have protested Issei's comment, but she saw what could be young love here. So Ria's elder brother is one of those 4 devils, this should be interesting. Aika said as Rias was deep in thought on the matter, especially with her vision of Queen Sheba Leviathan of the original 4 Satans. Soon the portal appeared as it was a mixture of Sparda, Gremory, and Eva as Issei smirked. It's time everybody. Graphia said as Issei smirked. Well then Rias, shall we start this party? Issei asked as Rias smirked as she quickly burst out of her clothing in her dominatrix-like clothing for battle. Let's rock. Rias said before they entered the portal. Near the student council broadcast room, Sona and Tsubaki were walking to the broadcast room before Sona stopped for a moment. Tsubaki, go on ahead, I have a group of VIPs waiting for me who I need to greet, they will be watching the rating game live from the stands, so to speak. Sona said as Tsubaki nodded. Sona then left in a different direction, which brought her to another room which housed a large group as their apparent leader was in a meditated state with the blue energy wings and an okatana. The young man held a striking resemblance to Issei, but his hair was combed back, giving it a sort of spike form, as his clothing was a one-tailed coat with high collar with a blue regal design, as well as a blue Nephilim crystal. Sona, is it starting? The young man asked as in the room when the light were lit showed Rainer and her fellow fallen angels now each sporting their own Nephilim crystals. Yes, Kisk, though I don't see why you would come to me instead of your brother to observe his match. Sona said, seeing that Kisk had more brood members than Issei did. Simple, I wish to see how far my brother has progressed in his power. Kisk said as he stood up and returned Yamato where it belonged. Furthermore, I wish to see if he is worthy of his half of our father's fortune. Though the fortune matters to me not, it's the power Sparda held. Kisk said as his endless search for the sword his father once wielded has still been fruitless. Plus I wanted to see Shirin in action. The Catwoman said as she rubbed up against Kisk trying to get a reaction from him, which was none. Kisk simply pushed her aside gently before heading to Sona. Though Sona, the offer to join my brood still stands, I need all the Nephilim I can find to revive my long-dead faction. Kisk said as Sona met his glare. I told you I am considering it, it does not mean I will accept instantly. Sona said as Kisk sighed. Then let me remind you, Sona, my offer stands for a limited time, which is the shards I have left. Kisk said as the shards he has left appeared before him, as they were the shards for 3 tricksters and 4 gunslingers, showing Kisk went for the strongest shards first for his brood before he would switch to the more versatile shards. And these shards are might. In this world I have learned, might controls everything, for without power you can't protect anything, let alone yourself. Kisk said using his infamous speech as he looked to Sona. Understood, Lord Sparda. Sona said, trying to be respectful to Kisk, seeing as the second son of Sparda was still heir and inheritor of the other half of Sparda's fortune. Well then, let's go watch this battle then. Bhikkhu said as the son of the monkey god from China was bursting with anticipation. But Team Devil May Cry. Aika and Asia opened their eyes as Issei smirked, seeing they were now in the little pocket realm for the rating game. Alright then, let's start up. Issei said as he cracked his hands ready for some action as he stood next to Rias. Wait, this is the place? Aika asked as Issei smirked. Don't worry, it's a pocket dimension, look outside the window and you'll get a green sky. Issei said as he was ready to rumble. Asia and Aika looked and were wide-eyed at what they saw as Issei was ready to go all out. Your attention please. Graphia's voice called as Issei saw the referee was ready. But Sona, Tsubaki, and Kisk plus the white dragon Nephilim peerage. Kisk and his brood sat around the table with Sona and Tsubaki, while Kisk gave his cold calculative look, while Kuroko laid on Kisk's lap, no doubt trying to gain his favor and his seed to be the mother for a revived Nephilim faction. Arthur, Biku, Donasik and Kalwarnar stood around Kisk as stalwart guards while watching the game with La Fei, and Miltold helped Tsubaki with her job with a few jump and helps from Kuroko as magic viewing screens surrounded the room. "Welcome everyone, my name is Grafia, I am a servant to the House of Gremory," Grafia said as Sona looked with Kisk sitting next to her. "I will be your referee for today's match," Grafia said as Kisk pulled up a map of the school grounds. "To create the battlefield you will be fighting and I took suggestions from Lady Rias Gremory, Lord Issei Dante Redgrave Sparda, and Lord Riser Phoenix. You may recognize this place as it is an exact replica of Kuo Academy, an educational institution in the world of chaos," Grafia said as Kisk smirked. "My brother and his possible lover have the home field advantage, added to fact Rias seems to have more access to the Umbra arts of the Umbra Witch class of Nephilim," Kisk said, knowing that if Rias can summon the stray devils from Limbo, she has the advantage here. "Each team has been given an area that will serve as its home base," Grafia said as Kisk looked. "La Fei and Miltold pull up Devil May Cry," Kisk ordered as the two nodded as the viewers were seeing Issei up close now. "But Team Devil May Cry. Team Devil May Cry lead by Rias and Issei, your base shall be in the Occult Research Club headquarters in the old school building," Grafia said as she flicked her hair with her hand that held Elven Knight in it, while Issei flicked his cloak in a stylish fashion showing off his gear and mostly his girls ebony and ivory. "Back with Sona, Tsubaki show me Phoenix," Sona said as Kisk and Sona agreed to share control here for now. Soon Riser was shown as he was on the principal's chair as he feet was on the desk with his peerage rubbing up near him that unlike Kisk with Kuroko had openly accepted. Though to Kisk's eyes he saw weaklings simply because he considered those peerage members basically slaves to Riser. The way they moved showed they may not even be in control of their actions, but Kisk would not act, instead Issei will do the job, and to do this is to ruin Riser's reputation and any chances of him getting the Gremory or Sparda fortune. But Kisk saw Ravel and saw a possible recruit to his brood, an immortal flame, could be useful to him when the Nephilim are able to openly take part in the raiding games. Riser's base shall be located in the principal's office of the new school building. Pawns and in the case of the Nephilim tricksters and gunslingers will be promoted if they can make their way to the home base of the opposing team. Good luck to all, Grafia said as Kisk smirked as now the countdown to Riser's defeat was on hand. But Devil May Cry. "Okay, we all know our setup, so I say we go for the full frontal assault. Go for his pawns and then take out the rest," Issei said as he was itching to start this party. "That's a good idea, Issei, but problem is Riser may have his pawns scattered about," Rias said as she held Elven Knights ready to fight. "We'll need these though," Rias said as she took out some glowing sphere revealing they were from Rodin. "Rodin's latest toys, if I'm not mistaken. Basically not only can we vocally communicate, but it will also allow us to share mental links, but if any of us is retired then it will shut down," Rias said as the spheres were placed to everyone's ears where they vanished. "Okay, then here's my plan. Me, Kiba, Asia, and Aika will cut a path through the grounds. We know it's a suicide path, but we'll be the heavy hitters since Aika here can combine our sacred gear's powers to make a kick-ass combination," Issei said as he looked to Rias. "He hates my guts, so he'll want to break the Sparta spirit before going for Rias, so I'll be playing bait," Issei said as Rias nodded. "Yes, you did punch him and insult him and taunt him when you two first met, basically reigniting his family's rivalry with your father's," Rias said as that sounded like a good idea from Issei. "So we'll draw their fire, but the problem is only going to be foolproof if I have Murayama and Caddis with me," Issei said as he looked at this map. "That could work. In fact, I'll have Akeno and Kaneko stay with me since I can work with them best due to past experience," Rias said as Issei smirked. "I say we should also secure the gymnasium, that way we can have a foothold and if need be a place to fall back to in order to recover," Kiba said as Issei nodded. "It's adjacent top their home base and not too far from us and it will help with our diversion," Kiba said as Issei smirked at Kiba's plan. "Okay, then once we get that spot get a leg up and once we clear the pawns me and Rias go for the kill on Riser," Issei said with a smirk as he was itching for some action. "Okay then, Caddis, think you can lead the charge and take that position for us and lock it down?" Issei asked as Caddis nodded. "You got it, boss," Caddis said as she summoned Ifrit and Pegasus. "I'll go with you," Kaneko said as Issei looked. "But we'll need you to stay and protect Rias," Issei said as Rias looked. "But before we can start the plan we'll need traps," Rias said as Issei smirked. "But then we're on the same page," Issei said as he summoned Hades, who barked while the Hell Rage trio were summoned by Caddis. "Plus we got like 4 guard animals on our side," Issei said as Hades was scratching himself with his hind legs. "Good, and when you guys are done Akeno here will set up some illusion magic," Rias said as Issei smirked. "But it let me help with the traps, as a professional hunter of the occult I know how to trap prey," Issei said as he followed after him. "The Kame here will act as our sentry then from the air," Murayama said, summoning her blood bird as the statue creature soon got dosed with blood turning into its true form, which flew around to Murayama's waiting arm. "Okay then, let's go set up then," Akeno said before she left the room with Murayama leaving Rias, Aika, and Asia. What about me and Asia, is there anything we can do to help out? Aika asked as she looked to Rias. Asia, you'll be the healing support, so to keep you safe, you'll be kept close to base until Issei and Kiba come back. The combination power of Aika's sacred gear will help double the power of your twilight healing. Rias said as Asia nodded. But if we lose either of you, this will get difficult, and if we lose Issei and his brood, we'll be in major trouble. Rias said as she checked her supply of vitality stars and herbal lollipops that Issei ordered from Rodin for this raiding game. Okay. Asia said as Aika nodded. Then I'll protect her. Aika said as Rias nodded. That's good. Rias said before she got ready to fight. Now we wait. Rias said as she sat on the sofa as she needed to wait for the next move. Do not forget, Rias, now that you have awoken the umbral power of the Nephilim, the strays in Inferno can be summoned at your beck and call. But use them carefully and keep control of them. If you lose control, they'll go berserk. Madama said from within Ria's mind as she looked to her shadow, which had taken the form of Madama Butterfly during the training camp. I know. Rias said silently as she knew Madama Butterfly and the stray devils in limbo were aces in the hole for them. Outside with Issei, Hades jumped to every area he could reach while setting up their traps as Issei smirked at their setup. Good boy, on to the next one. Issei said as he continued to walk as Hades barked and went on. With Kaneko, Kiba, and Caddis, the hell rages of Ghost Blood and Mary were also setting up some traps, as the Ghost Rage, simply called Ghost Phantom, was setting up more divine traps for the opposing part, with Bloody Rose the Blood Rage setting up Infernal Trap to act as the first line. Mary set up more powerful traps than Shiro's, and even enhanced some of them as Caddis smiled. That's good, mommy's little helpers. Caddis said, scratching her Hell Rage's ear as the pack leader lead the two other Hellcats. Good job, Shiro. Kaneko said as Kiba nodded. Okay, then on the next part. Kiba said as they moved on. With Akeno and Murayama, the two were on a tree as Murayama's blood bird flew around and set the traps up as Akeno had her familiar do the same. Okay, then we're all set up. Akeno said as Murayama nodded. Areas, we're ready when you are, just say the word. Murayama said to their calm. Link says this much was for certain. With Kisk, Rias may have numbers on her side now, but even with the combined efforts of her and Issei, she is still at a major disadvantage in pieces to call her own. The same with Issei. Sona said as Kisk looked. They have angelic powers at their disposal, and Rias has some aces up her sleeve just waiting for the opportune time to unveil them. Kisk said as he looked. Plus, knowing my brother, he's probably already at the gymnasium after setting up their defenses. Kisk said. Sona looked. He breaks rank that often? Sona asked as Kisk looked. Yes, for him breaking rank comes as natural as demolishing everything that gets in the way of his prey and makes him look good. Kisk said as he watched. With Rias. Okay, then we're all set up. Issei, you've been quiet, everything okay on your end? Rias asked as she was only met with silence. Issei. Rias asked as she was getting worried as soon Hades came back as Hades looked completely fine. Hey Rias. Issei's voice was heard on the communications as Rias heard. Find a window and check out the gym, things are about to start popping. Issei said as Rias was wide-eyed. Team Devil May Cry begin Operation May the Phoenix Cry. Issei called as everyone was wide-eyed. With Issei was at the front door to the gymnasium as he smirked. Now then, this is going to be one hell of a party. Issei called out before he kicked the doors down, making them go flying, catching the attention of the Chinese dressed girl, the Japanese girl, and the twins with a red and blue bag each as he caught them by surprise as they were facing the stage. Surprise? Issei called as he walked in. What the? The Chinese girl called out before Issei began firing ebony and ivory at them. What, expected me to go for the stealth approach? Please, that isn't stylish in any way. Issei said as he held his guns at them. Now then, I make it my policy not to fuck up some hot babes like you four, but well, I need to win, so want to walk away first. Issei asked as he activated his boosted gear. So the Brood Alpha leads the charge just like every Sparda I read about, in the words of Lord Riser, too big for you fucking boots. The Japanese girl said as she looked. Anyway, I am Mira and I'm a pawn. Mira said as she smirked arrogantly at Issei. I'm Shura and I'm a Phoenix Rook. Shura said as Issei smirked at them in his cocky way. I'm Deal and I'm a pawn. The twin to the left said as the second soon spoke. And I'm Nell and I'm also a pawn. She said as Issei smirked at them. Oh good, 3 pawns to retire, that's good. Issei said as he stretched. Can you give me a moment? Issei said as he began whistling and walking to the jukebox in the gym, which Issei had Graphia add to every major strategic location as a sort of trick. Of course the four were confused as Issei's movement as they didn't even notice the jukebox there. This party is about to get crazy. Issei began as he pointed his right hand upward. Let's rock. Issei called before he turned on the jukebox, activating the song choice. Insert devil may cry and I'm Ost Rock Queen future in my hands. Issei soon felt the forecharge at him head on as Issei smirked before he brought out Eric's and punched the Rook before sending kicks and punches at the 3 pawns, sending them back. Boost. Drake called out as Issei sent a major punch at the 2 as he smiled his ever-present cocky smile. Alright, this is my jam. Issei called as he switched to Aquila and sent them at the Rook before they split apart and returned to him as the part that was originally sent cut up the Rook as she cried out in pain from the burning sensation of the angelic power. Issei quickly then sent the other Aquila at the 3 pawns as they tried to move, but the chakrams got them as Issei then smirked. Let's go. Issei called as he then switched to his Ophian demon pull and pulled the first pawn to him before punching her with Eric's. Issei then switched to Revenant as he pointed it at the Rook's stomach who tried to sneak attack him. Who the fuck are you? Tell me. The Rook demanded as Issei smirked. My name is Issei, but you can call me Issei the Hunter has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Issei asked as the Rook was wide-eyed. Now be sure Riser knows I'm coming for him. Issei said with a smirk as the Rook was now scared. Ciao. Issei said before he fired shooting her retiring her. Riser's Rook has been retired. Grafia said as Issei smirked. Alright next please. Issei said as he smirked at the 3 remaining pieces who were now nervous a bit. Bet him. Mira called as she took charge as Issei then smirked switching to Ebony and Ivory with Drake. Transfer. Drake called out as Ebony and Ivory gained the seal for Issei's personal favorite attack. Smoking. Issei called out as he slid on his knees and spun while firing at the 3 pawns hitting them with the seals. And now. Issei began as he was back on his feet as he put Ebony away. Dress break. Issei called as he snapped his fingers causing the seals to glow and the 3 girls' clothing to explode, leaving them naked. The twins went at Issei with chainsaw as the young Nephilim quickly switched to Arbiter and blocked the attack with the demonic axe creating sparks. The 2 tried to force their weapons down on Issei, he then smirked and pushed them back as well before the chains on the axes shattered and in turn Issei switched to Osiris. The 2 stepped back in fear as they saw the scythe giving off an angelic blue glow as the blade even glistened with a cross shape on it. Wanna try me? Issei asked before he dodged an attack from the pawn Mira and slashed through her using Osiris, causing her to vanish as well. Riser's pawn has been retired. Grafia was hurt as Issei then looked at the last 2 pawns who were now naked and hugging each other in fear while shaking and trying to look cute. Issei had a sinister smirk on his face as his wings came out showing they were royally fucked up. Hey, want a deal? Issei asked as he looked as the 2 nodded. I'll give you 2 a 5-second head start through the window towards the old school building. Issei said as the 2 quickly ran agreeing to the deal. Issei saw them run out the window shattering the glass as he smiled. Okay, 5 seconds is up. Issei said before launching Kablooey at them as the 2 cried out in pain as one got nailed in the ass while the other was hit in the back. Issei then detonated causing the 2 to vanish as well as Issei smiled. 2 of Riser's pawns has been retired. Grafia said as Issei smirked. And Ost, easy. Issei said as he got Devil May Cry a huge head start on this. Issei, what the fucking hell in Inferno's name were you thinking going against a plan like that and going solo? Are you nuts? Rias called through the communications links as Issei chuckled. Hey Rias, heads up though, Jim's under our control and I took out 4 of Riser's pieces on my own. Issei countered as he smiled. Now then you can send a Keno in for cleanup. Doubt Riser will be able to use this strategic spot with me here. Issei said as Rias sighed in frustration. Issei, you are so lucky you took out the 4 pieces, but we still have 11 other pieces before Riser. Rias said as Issei used his angel pull and went to the window before flying out just as the place exploded by Akeno's thunder. Issei then smirked and hit a ring before using his angel glide to fly closer to the new school building. Once Issei was out, he soon looked to where the principal's office was and pointed his hand in the shape of a gun at it and pulled the trigger, saying Riser was next. Okay Issei, I'm going to be calm here, so I'll just say it outright, we're still outnumbered, but the playing fields have been evened out a bit. So Issei, clear a path and Kaneko and Caddis buy Akeno some time to get her next attack ready. Rias said as she was being the strategist here. Don't worry, my girls and Kiba have it covered. Issei said with a smirk as he was referring to Murayama and Caddis just as Kaneko arrived. With Kiba, 2 maids and the belly dances of Riser's pawns were getting rid of any traps as they were basically lost in the fog. Damn, these Gremory and Spardas may be complete dumbasses if they think these traps will stop us. One said as soon a voice was heard. Oh, those won't stop you, we will. Came the voice as Murayama as they looked up and saw she was thrown as she had Alistair drawn pointed downward between them. But as soon as they noticed they were too late as Murayama stabbed Alistair into the ground, releasing the full force of its thunder as when she did the 3 pawns were electrocuted as they felt intense pain. Once Murayama pulled out one maid felt something hit her, and to her shock, she saw an infernal dragon hand, which then yanked her into the wood lines, surprising the two before Murayama grabbed the second maid and threw her to the side before charging forward with a flying kick, sending both of them to the wood line. "Oh crap." The belly dancer pawn said as soon she saw Kiba walk forward. "Nice trick we did there, huh?" Kiba asked as he was impressed with how Issei and the two members of his brood can think on the fly like that. "Gotta admit they know how to improvise." Kiba said as the pawn was now worried for herself. "Now then, do you wish to dance?" Kiba asked as he smirked while drawing his own sword. "With Kisk and Sona." "Wow, Shirin is being outshined by your brother and his brood Kisk." Kuroko said as Miltel glared at Issei and his brood members, as did Donasik and Kalwerner, as they still hated the humiliation he gave them but respected him for sparing them, and since Kisk was his brother who had recruited them into his brood, respect won out. Yes, Issei is by nature a maverick. He tends to make his own rules and plans, and when those plans don't work out, he improvises. Kisk said as he looked to his twin brother. Authority is something he will very rarely respect, and when he does, said authority had to have really worked their asses off to earn it. Kisk said as he observed the fight as Kuroko looked at the live stream from her tablet. "Oh Kisk-sama, it seems Issei has gotten popularity in Inferno, looks like his move got people seeing he was strong and quick thinking." Kuroko said as she got up and put the tablet on the table. "So he has the skills and power, but does he have the potential to fully utilize it, Sir Kisk?" Arthur asked as Kisk looked. "We will see soon enough." Kisk said as Lefei was very invested in the live stream with Kuroko. With Riser was surprised that Issei, the son of Sparda, took down 3 of his pawns and his rook in one fell swoop. He did not see that coming as he glared at the scene while his eyes glowed and his flames burned. "Sparda Nephilim." A voice deep within Riser growled angrily out as Riser did not hear it, no doubt assuming it's his own devil purity. But Issei and Kaneko. "Okay Kaneko, let's go take down Riser." Issei said as Kaneko walked ahead with Issei close behind. But soon an explosion was heard as Issei shielded himself due to the distance when it went off, but Kaneko was at ground zero as Issei was wide-eyed. When the smoke settled, Issei was wide-eyed as Kaneko was injured badly as her clothing was torn apart with her panties barely on her body. "Kaneko." Issei called as he picked up her as he looked up and saw Riser's queen had joined the fray. One down." She said in a taunt as Issei sighed in a silent fury as Kaneko went up in sparkles. "Devil May Cry's rook has been retired." Grafia said as Issei was now pissed. "That was a low blow, lady, and yeah, I do low blows myself, but doing that to Kaneko, that is crossing a line." Issei said as he got up. "Let me guess, Riser's bitch queen, hooker queen or stripper queen? I'm confused since Riser tried to taunt me by making out with you and sending me the picture straight to my house." Issei said as the woman glared. "Rias, if you can hear me, I think it's time you joined the fray." Issei said through their mental links as he glared at Riser's queen. "Wait, what?" Rias asked as she was surprised. "I'm going straight for Riser's head and I need you to back me up. We'll show him you don't fuck with these Nephilim." Issei said through the mental link as Akeno soon appeared. "Well, what do you know, you made a very bad move." Akeno said as Issei smirked. "Hey Akeno, can I count on you to take care of this bitch?" Issei asked as Akeno smiled. "Do you even have to ask?" Akeno asked as Issei smirked. "Okay then, knock him dead, Priestess of Thunder." Issei said as he began running to the new school building. "Don't worry, Bomb Queen won't walk away in one piece." Akeno said as Issei ran ahead. With Caddis, Kiba, and Murayama, "See ya." Caddis called as she did a drop kick with Pegasus at her opponent, which was Riser's pawn that ended up with her being frozen in a divine ice before it exploded as the maid was down for the count as she fell and vanished. Thunder Dragon break. Murayama called as she sent an arc of thunder at her pawn opponent, ending her as well as the maid wasn't down yet. And Murayama began as he pointed her weapon Rikari in its gun form at the maid pawn. "Bingo," she said before firing and defeating the pawn. "Eat this." Kiba called out, doing a sort of judgment slash on the belly dancer pawn, ending her spot in the rating game. 3 of Lord Riser's pawns have retired. Grafia said as Murayama smiled. "Okay, that should help even us out for 8-8. Murayama said as Kiba smiled. "Yeah, Issei really knew what he was thinking when having our groups team up here." Kiba said as Rias has a basic respawn chance for herself to Issei's brood. With Kisk and Sona in the broadcast room. "Okay, currently Riser has the lead with 9 pieces, but Devil May Cry has only lost 1 piece, so it's not a major disadvantage in numbers." Kisk said as he watched carefully. "But even that can change in a split second." Kisk said as he was being realistic here. "They can't afford to get careless." Sona said as Kisk scoffed. "Issei and careless go hand in hand." Kisk said as he knew how his brother fought like the back of his hand, same vice versa. With Rias, "I guess it's time." Rias said as she sighed. "Kiba, Issei, Murayama, and Caddis, can you 3 hear me?" Rias asked as she got up and grabbed Elven Knights. "Yeah, we hear you, babe." Issei flirted as Rias sighed. I'm going to launch a sneak attack with Aika and Asia, so I need Murayama and Caddis to draw as many of their forces away as she can. Issei, you'll help clear the path for my sneak attack, and Kiba, you'll cover for him. Is that clear? Rias asked as she hoped Issei would follow that order, since he did basically appoint her chief strategist. I'd a clean house and look good doing it. Issei said as Rias sighed. Right now, seeing as I have respawn privileges, I can double as both a king and Issei's Dark Slayer. Seeing as Riser sent out his queen, I need a Keno to focus there, and if a Keno fails I can take over. Rias said as she got up. Plus with Aika's combination gear, we can turn the tide at a moment's notice, with its ability to borrow the power of other sacred gears. Rias said as Issei understood. Riser may be aware of all this, and would assume I would fight as a devil then a Nephilim. That will be his biggest mistake. Rias said as she got up. Issei, be sure to meet me there, because if Riser doesn't flock off he'll see that I'm the kind of witch you don't fuck with. Rias said as she got up. Okay, you got it, babe, you're going to look hot kicking ass, I just know it. Issei flirted as Rias sighed. I'll meet you at Riser. Rias said as Aika and Kaneko were ready. But Issei, Caddis, Murayama, and Kiba in the sport supply closet. Okay then, let's go, maximum effort. Issei said as he left to clear the path as they needed to move the peons off of the track and field. You got it, boss. Caddis said as Murayama cheered. We're coming at you cunts like a man to baby back ribs balls to the wall. Murayama called as she was enjoying herself far too much. Later at the track field, the four entered the area as Issei was intent on clearing the path since he was the strongest here. Hey. Fucktoys of Riser hot spicy chicken wings, show yourself if I'm right, Riser wants me taken down, right? Well, here I am. Issei called as a taunt as soon a dust storm blew in, and from it was a woman in knight-like armor. Hey, 50 red orbs and halo says she's a knight. Issei said as Kiba looked surprised. No need, you'll win that bet because you only make bets you know you'll win. Caddis said as she knew her boss that well by now. I am Carlem and a knight in the service of Lord Riser. Though to be perfectly honest, requesting to be attacked by us makes me question your sanity for calling me out, but I will face you, son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda. Carleman said as Issei looked. Although far be it for me to refuse an idiot who's reckoning. Carleman said as Issei smirked as the woman drew her sword, which gained the Phoenix family flames. Yeah, I already took down 4 of your cohorts alone, and how many of us have you taken down so far, Fire Sword? Issei taunted as he looked around for a bit. We're still short 1 knight, 2 bishops, 1 rook, and 2 pawns. Issei said as he found the one of the 2 knights, so here were the other 4 missing pieces. My name is Kiba, Hyoudou, knight in service of Rias Gremory, who in turn is in the service of Issei Dante Redgrave Sparda Hyoudou. Kiba said as he drew his sword. I hope you're ready, I've been looking forward to fighting another knight. Kiba said as he was ready to fight with sword at the ready. Hey, let's skip the bullshit knight crap and get on with it, I gotta find my prey of the hour. Issei said as Kiba and Carleman glared. Way to ruin it. Kiba said as Carleman agreed. I concur. Carleman said before the 2 charged at each other. Okay then, who's ours, ladies? Issei asked, looking around as the 2 used their knight-based speed to fight. That will be us. A woman was heard as Caddis, and Murayama got ready. Oh, here are the other pieces. Okay then, ladies, who wants who? Issei asked as he looked to the 2. Leave their rook to me. Caddis said as she stretched her joints ready to fight. My blood's boiling for a good fight. Caddis said as Murayama smirked. Same here, so leave the knight to me. Murayama said as she drew Alistair and Rikari ready to fight. If you wish to fight a rook then so be it, Nephilim. Came the voice of the badass goth-looking woman as Caddis looked. My name is Isabella Rook in the service of the Honorable Lord Riser Phoenix. She said as he got ready. Prepare yourself to fight, Royal Guard of Issei Sparda. Isabella said before she charged as Caddis smirked. Should have promoted a pawn to a rook, maybe then you could have stand a chance. Caddis said as she blocked Isabella's punch like nothing. Now then, my turn. Caddis said before returning the punch with effort, sending Isabella flying. Okay, blonde babe, let me guess you're a bishop, right? Issei asked as he looked to her. So if that's the case, Miss Geisha Fetish over there is also a bishop, am I right? Issei asked as he had rebellion at the ready. Well, since you had your royal guard fight my first choice of your opponent, I guess I'll try someone else. The girl said as Issei looked. So is that a yet? Issei asked as he taunted her. Don't speak to the Lady Ravel with such tone, you cur. Isabella was hurt as Issei looked. How come she blows up the planet if she has her fellings hurt her is disrespected? Issei taunted as Ravel was surprised Issei had those kind of balls on him. No, she is a noble devil of the House of Phoenix and may be in service to Lord Riser, but she is also Riser's younger sister. Isabella said as Issei smirked. Oh, why didn't you say so, makes this far more easier for me. But dude, seriously, the Forbidden Sister, seriously, what's next? He likes eating shit. Issei taunted as Ravel was getting pissed at how Issei would insult Riser so easily. Besides, when I win this rating game these hoes will be in your service, Ravel, while Riser is kicked to the curb. Issei taunted with a flirty tone as Ravel glared. He doesn't have a thing for his sister or eating crap. Isabella said as Issei yawned. Sure he doesn't. Issei said as Isabella and Caddis fought. Hey Issei, shut up and let me do the banter for my opponent. Caddis called as she grabbed Isabella and threw her like a wrestler. Yeah, I got it. Issei called as he looked. Look, I need to finish up here fast so. Issei said before Drake was summoned as he patted his chest. Come at me. Issei taunted as he smirked. And I mean all of you to come at me. Issei said as he took a battle stance. Partner, I suggest we trigger to deal with these riffraff, then we'll be able to assist your mate in annihilating the man who claims himself an immortal. Drake said as Ravel was confused. Trigger? Ravel asked as Issei smirked. Yeah, you're right, but still I want a challenge, so come and get some. Issei called as he took a battle stance. The rest of you get him. Ravel ordered as Murayama charged and found the second knight who she began fighting. I got this bitch, take out the two bishops and pawns. Murayama called as Issei smirked. Alright then. Issei said as his eyes began to glow red as the red veins appeared on his face. Get ready, you four, you're about to go down hard. Issei said before he roared out, and once more like last time the world turned white with a powerful wind blowing as the two bishops and two pawns were hurled into the air as Issei's normally black coat became blood red as his silver hair glowed even more so as Issei began the slaughter. All it took was 1 minute before the stage 1 trigger ended as when it did the two pawns of an animal girl origin and the geisha-like girl had all went up in sparkles, leaving Ravel who landed on the ground hard. 2 of Riser's pawns and 1 of his bishops have been retired. Grafia said as Ravel was shocked. Man, not even worth the trigger. Issei said with a yawn as he looked. Man, what a letdown. Issei said as he stretched a bit as he soon saw Ravel was shocked at what she saw. If that was just a stage 1 form, then Ravel said as Issei smirked as he walked towards Ravel who on her rear began to scoot away from Issei till she was cornered at a tree. Ravel quickly closed her eyes in fear but soon felt the force of nature pass by her as she looked and saw Issei walking away. Hey Ravel, next time you want to play with the big dogs like that, do your homework first. Issei said as he walked away from Ravel. With Rias, Aika and Asia, the three arrived at the door as they opened it, but when they felt the devil trigger activate they knew Issei is on his way here. Hey ladies. Issei greeted, surprising them as they saw Issei was here. What did I miss? Issei asked as Rias sighed. Issei, I swear you'll be the death of me one day. Rias said as Issei smirked. Yeah, well life huh. Anyway Aika, Asia, you two are done here, go find Kiba and the others and help out Akeno. Issei said as he then looked to Rias. Rias and I here have a devil's arm to get. Issei said as he smirked. Issei, if you could promote me. Aika said as Issei looked. We're at the enemy base, you can do it yourself. Issei said as Aika smiled. Okay, promotion. Aika said as Dragon's Eye appeared behind her as an ethereal crystal. Royal Guard. She invoked as Asia got a major strength boost to cover for Kaneko who they lost. Okay, go get him, Unified Dragon Empress. Issei said as Aika and Asia nodded and left. Now then, Ria's ready to take down 2 immortals. Issei asked as Rias knew Issei wasn't talking about Ravel outside. Later in Riser's throne, so a Nephilim brood alpha and a devil king turned Nephilim brood dark slayer. Riser's voice was heard as when the two entered the large building they looked atop the stairs and saw Riser. Welcome, son of Sparda and my beloved Rias, to your defeat by Riser's hands. Riser said as Issei smirked. Thank you, but Issei thinks Riser needs to fix his grammar. Issei taunted as Riser glared at Issei. Just like every Sparda, too big for your fucking boots. Riser said as Issei smirked. Glad I don't disappoint Riser, bet you my dad and devil ancestors would be so proud. Issei taunted as Riser growled. Anyway, how about we finish this, you got a little something I want, so I'm going to have to tear it out or force it out. Issei said as Riser was confused. Cryptic. Riser said as Rias pointed Elven Knights at Riser. Riser, prepare to have your spotless win record broken. Rias said as Issei pointed with ebony at Riser. Burn in the eternal flames of the phoenix. Riser called out, but Rias produced a barrier as Issei then used his angel pull with Rias using her angel bullet to start climbing to the root. Roof. Insert DMC Devil May Cry Ost. Demon Killer. The roof exploded as Rias and Issei came out together as Riser stood across from them. Any ideas how to draw it out? Rias asked as she could see a phantom of sorts behind Riser like it was using him as a host. Block off both Riser and the thing inside him and do that by beating him into submission, that's the best I can come up with. Issei said as he held Rebellion at the ready. Okay, go. Rias called as she and Issei charged at Riser as Rias fired at Riser with her guns as Issei then slashed at Riser before jumping back and crouching down where Rias ran up Issei's back and used the guns at her heels to put some holes into Riser. Riser used his flames to regenerate as Issei then used his angel pull to go straight at Riser before switching to Eric's and punching him in the face as the angel pull's burning holy power caused him pain. Hey Riser. Rias called as she held a vial in her hand before charging angelic power into it and threw it at Riser. Riser was wide-eyed as Issei then shot it, causing Riser to be covered in holy water as he cried out in pain. "Gaw, is this holy water? Where did you get this?" Riser called out in pain as Issei smirked. "Simple hot spicy chicken wings. I hunt strays from all the factions, so I have to know their weaknesses, and you my friend though a devil are no exception," Issei said in a taunt as Riser glared. "Hey Riser." Rias called before she took out a cross and shoved it into Riser's face and restrained him. "I never had said this before or had a reason to, but don't swallow," Rias said as she had Riser's mouth held open from his scream of pain before she shoved the cross into his mouth and closed it, causing Riser to spaz out in major pain. Riser then released his flames, forcing Rias to let go as he quickly spit out the cross before Issei came at him with ebony and ivory shooting at the phoenix. Riser roared in fury as he sent his flames at Issei, who pulled out Rebellion and slashed through the flames before he charged at Riser with Rebellion pointed at Riser in a stab-like motion. "Stinger," Issei called as he stabbed Riser. "Million stab," Issei called out, sending multiple stabs at Riser in lightning-fast speed. "Two of Riser's knights have been retired," Grafia said as Issei smirked. "Well Riser, you lost 2 more, so I guess we outnumber you now," Issei taunted as he pulled back from Riser, who was bleeding profoundly. Soon an explosion was heard as the 2 Nephilim looked and saw Keno was taken down as they were wide-eyed as she vanished. "Devil May Cry's queen has retired," Grafia said as Rias and Issei were shocked. With Kisk and Sona, it seems they underestimated Riser's queen, Kisk said as he looked. "What are you saying?" Sona said as she knew Kisk had a deeper meaning to it. "Riser is beginning his counterattack, they need to beat him soon," Kisk said as he knew the Nephilim were no doubt weakened from the battles they fought. "Hopefully they can draw out a stray soon and get a devil's arm from it," Biku said as Sona looked. "A stray?" Sona asked as she didn't expect this was all a setup masterly made by Issei. "My brother truly is just plain out lucky," Kisk said as Sona's sweat dropped. "But Issei and Rias versus Riser. Murayama, Caddis go after Riser's queen. Kiba, Ika, Asia handle Ravel," Issei called as he got 5 confirmation from them. "This bastard has really managed to piss me off," Rias growled as her hair and eyes began to glow crimson. "I think it's time then," Issei said as he and Rias smirked. "About time," Rias Gremory first infernal summoning, Drake said as Issei and Rias then charged at Riser. Issei switched to Eric's and began punching at Riser from one side, while Rias came the other side and used the wicked weave of Madama Butterfly's fists to punch Riser as the phoenix was being dealt blows from 2 sources. Issei and Rias then stood side by side before then sent a fist at Riser's face, sending him flying. Rias then came on him and summoned a wicked weave of Madama Butterfly's foot stomping down on Riser. "Let's end this," Rias called as she was on the roof. And asked, "I think it's time for a friend of mine in Limbo to say hello, he's been dying to see what I'm like in persona after all," Rias said as she had a hand at her hip giving her a sexy appearance. Starred Bayonetta asked, "Let's hit the climax, Avavago," Rias invoked as she did a small spin dance as her suit retracted as her hair shot out in a large mass into a dark and evil portal as soon on the school's wall, another one opened as from it, Rias' crimson hair shot out and formed into a demonic dragon of a stray devil. This was Gamora the Devourer of the Divine, a powerful stray devil who was defeated when his actions of devouring angels and fallen angels could no longer be tolerated and in turn was killed and sent to Limbo. Riser was now terrified as he saw Rias, though wearing almost nothing, looked at him with her arms behind her head in a sexual pose. "There you go, playtime my sweet little pet, think of this shoe toy as a nice to meet you gift." Rias cooed as Riser saw the creature looked hungry, very hungry. "No, stay away from me," Riser called as he produced wings of flames and tried to fly off, but Gamora chomped down on Riser before he could escape. Gamora soon began his Gigaton attack as he began to chomp down hard with Riser in his mouth as you could barely see the blood of Riser. Soon the attack reached its peak before Gamora threw Riser to the wall, far wall hard as Issei and Rias angel glided to him and saw he was injured and humiliated. And Ost, insert Bayonetta 2 Ost. Demon descend. "Damn you," Riser growled as his eternal flame was working overtime to fix the damage these 2 caused. "Damn you, son of Sparda," Riser said as his voice began to change. "Damn you and all those who follow or aid you." The voice was no longer Riser's as soon large phoenix-like shot out before from Riser, a demonic phoenix shot out crying out to the world as Issei smirked. "Well, what do you know, Riser here has been cheating in his rating games," Issei called as that phoenix had more powerful flames the Riser as it flew around and set aflame anything it passed by. "Do not taunt me, son of Sparta, this pathetic excuse for a phoenix is merely a timeshare like all those before him." The beast roared as it perched itself atop the new school building, it setting it on fire simply by landing on it. "You and your whores will answer for Sparta's betrayal of Inferno. I am Suzaku Phoenix, the eternal flame of Inferno," Suzaku called out as Issei smirked. "And Ost, insert Devil May Cry 3 Ost. Well, Rias, here we are, the devil arm in the making," Issei said as he looked up. "Hey, keep live streaming this, folks, this is about to get crazy." Issei called as Rias smirked. Let's rock. Rias said as the two held their guns at the ready with Rias kneeling in front of Issei, pointing her guns at Suzaku, as one thing was for sure this battle will be one to remember in Inferno, as either the Nephilim will die here or they will sow their power once more. In the throne room of the four Satans, Surzich saw this as he looked at the screen when Suzaku had appeared as he knew Rias may be in trouble now. She will stand victorious. Came the voice of Phineas as he walked in. That much I have foreseen. Phineas said as Surzich looked. I hope you're right. Surzich said as he looked. Don't worry, she will survive and in turn be among the Eves to the revival of the Nephilim and their Umber witches. Phineas said as Surzich can only hope for now. End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys. Before you go, just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.